Welcome back to Real Geek Media. It is Thursday, May 8th, 2025. I am Hayden Stoll. He is author Christopher Michael Blake. We are back with another movie review. This week, we are going to see what happens when a buddy cop movie runs into a zombie movie at full speed. We have Dead Heat tonight. Christopher, how we doing?
Does this shade of lipstick bring out my eyes? That's the $1 million question.
There you go. There you go.
That and how you hang Joe Piscopo upside down in a fish tank.
It's good though. He was pretty balanced in there.
He was. I mean, obviously the body.
Surprisingly.
I mean, how is it like? It's like straight up. It's like not even like.
Right. Yeah. Directly up, like this little tank is holding his whole body.
Yeah.
Love it.
But let's talk some Dead Heat tonight. I really enjoyed this movie.
I got to be honest. I do not remember the last time I watched this. I saw it way back. It might have been shortly after it was out, which this was 1988. So maybe 88, 89, early 90s. And I have not seen it since then. So, when I watched it, it brought a smile to my face because there's some good stuff in here. And it's a short movie, but it's got a lot of good stuff and let's get into it here. We got a mashup. It's like sci-fi, it's horror, it's buddy cop, action. It's all that mixed into this wonderful 90-minute film here. Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo. What did you think? What I know I think we're both big Treat Williams fans.
It's a shame he passed away earlier last year.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he was in his 70s, I mean, he was still on TV. My wife was watching a TV show with him in it on like Lifetime or Hallmark or one of those channels. So he was still acting even at that age. Yeah. But it seems like he plays the same character in like everything. It's like he has like no range. It's like always just what you see is what you get. It's like very straight.
Yeah.
You can see the pitch for this movie to the Hollywood executives. We want you to give us $5 million so we can make a movie. What kind of movie are you going to make? Think Lethal Weapon, which I'm sure they were thinking that on the coattails of that.
Yes.
Back when they pitched this. Think Lethal Weapon, but with zombies.
Yes.
I'm in.
Yes.
That's the pitch right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lethal Weapon, zombies. Little known fact, Terry Black wrote the movie. His brother is Shane Black.
Oh, that's interesting.
Shane Black was in the movie.
Was he in this?
He is a patrolman, so it was a very minor. It was like, he was probably the guy who got shot in the head.
Right.
With the shotgun. It was like, freeze.
Right off the bat, right? Opening scene, we're right into the action.
Yeah.
And when I was watching, the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, man, like, I feel like Predator 2 really borrowed from the opening of this movie because it's very similar in the sense of massive shootout. These guys, we can't take them down. It's like, where they're fighting the drug cartel in LA.
The Jamaican voodoo posse.
Yes. I immediately was thinking, it's like, Treat Williams is the Danny Glover. He's riding the car with the shotgun. I'm like, I would not be surprised if the person that wrote Predator 2 was a fan of this movie because the opening scene, I feel like, was lifted and put into that movie. Yeah. What's Darren McGavin?
Yes. The Night Stalker.
Yes. Yes. He pops up in here as the doctor who is
Body Doc. Yeah.
Yes. He's ultimately the villain of the film.
With the toupee.
With the toupee, which is another thing. Like, you see it, and he's got this coiffed head of hair, and you're like, oh, man. Then late in one of the middle scenes, he doesn't have it on, right, altogether. And then he has it back on at the end of the movie. A little Vincent Van Gogh, small role. Not Vincent Van Gogh, Vincent Price. What am I saying? Vincent Price. Vincent Price.
Oh,
Vincent Van Gogh. Yeah, he's popping up in this. Yeah. And everybody dies. Everybody dies in this movie.
Yes.
If you have a speaking role, you're dead in this film.
I got some insights on this movie, courtesy of IMDb. So a couple things you may not have realized. The big muscular, when they go into the butcher shop. And the guy
yes.
who chops the identification in half.
Yeah.
That is Professor Tanaka.
Yes.
Bells.
Isn't he a wrestler?
Running Man.
From Running Man. Yes. I knew I recognized him. Yes.
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
But how about Thule? The Chinese guy who comes out.
What was he?
Very famous movie, 1986. Gremlins. He played the grandfather. And he made an appearance in the sequel too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You don't realize it because he looks so much younger in this without all the makeup and the white beard and everything.
Yes.
And it's just, so good. They did announce it. Robert Picardo's in this movie from Voyager as the Doctor, the hologram, small role. But what you don't realize, even though everybody dies at the end of this movie, they went to Terry Black and they said, we want a sequel. Even though this movie didn't make money in the box office, even though it was a failure and got 11% critic rating, they were like, we want a sequel. And Terry Black was like, well, how do you plan on doing that when everybody's dead? And the producers, I guess, said, you have a resurrection machine, use it.
Oh, my God.
So, obviously, it never came to fruition. I would have loved to have seen it. But, this is a fun movie. This is undoubtedly, this is a fun movie.
Lots of one-liners. There are lots of quips. Lots of Uzis, Mac-10s flying around, man. I think everybody gets to fire off an Uzi. Like some of the action stuff is actually not that bad in this. It's pretty solid.
Effects are pretty good. That butcher scene,
yes,
I mean, is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I think pre-CGI. I mean, they had to keep the meat hook to that giant bull coming out.
Yeah, and it's like it's a side of beef.
Yes,
and it's walking, and then it falls on Treat Williams. It's good stuff in here. And part of it, like that scene, was making me think of like Big Trouble in Little China with some of the practical stuff. And I thought, man, like it works. Like the plot is just okay.
The plot real quick. I mean,
we got this gang of undead robbing banks, and here's Treat Williams, here's Joe Piscopo showing up on the scene, foiling the robbery, taking out the bad guys, only to find out that there was already an autopsy done on these guys in the coroner's office. From the doctor's like, I already did these guys. To which Darren McGavin says, you made a mistake. You can't make a stupid mistake like that.
So then they go to Dante Pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Because that's the only place that happens to have ordered this chemical that these guys have in them.
Yes.
Okay. So the security guard there, of course, full on duty magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, now, do you mind if I ruin your erection for 1 second to get some help?
Not even budging, right?
But it's hysterical because you're like, the guy's like a full-on creep. He doesn't good job being a creep. It's like, dude, really? Can you imagine that being your claim to fame? It's like, oh, you were in a movie? Great. What movie? Oh, I was in Dead Heat. Let me pause that scene for you. But it's not bad. Then he gets thrown into the air compressor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he gets killed, Treat Williams' character. And they bring him back via the resurrection machine. And they find out he only has, 72 hours to live?
Yeah, they said
to live.
They gave him like a day and a half ballpark that he's got, or he's going to turn into a pile of goo.
Right. So, of course, they go after the pharmaceutical head, who is Randy James. And, Joe Piscopo's going through her underwear.
And this is the role that,
and I'm not making this up. This is exactly what happens.
He is he's like the comic relief in a lot of the scenes he's in, right? So he's got the one-liner, he's got he's going through the drawer with all the underwear. He's got those scenes in there, and honestly, he plays it fine.
He was funny.
He's funny.
Look,
he was
funny guy.
Yeah. He worked just fine in this role. And Treat Williams as this
muscular too. I mean, the dude's like walking around with the small shirt, but I mean, the dude's muscular.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take that away from him. So I mean, he put the effort into everything at that time in his career.
Yeah,
for sure. And it's a shame he never got to be that next tier level.
Yeah,
it seemed like his career, for whatever reason, just kind of circled the drain after Saturday Night Live, and just, I don't know if it was the Frank Sinatra impression. I mean, I don't know. But he has, for me, the best line in the movie. They come out of the house after they killed the two zombies, and he says, "Roger, you were under that water for like 3 full minutes." He goes, "I was, wasn't I?" And Doug goes, "Can you teach my girlfriend how to do that?"
Yes, there's always like a line that he's dropping. And honestly, these two work well together. I liked them as a pair. I thought they were good feeding off each other throughout the film. So, that Treat Williams, he's like, they bring him back and he's like, I only got that amount of time to live and you want to run tests on me? I got to bring these guys down. I don't have a lot of time. So they're driven, like they go to the house, like you said, they see Randy James and, they're ambushed by a couple zombies with Uzis. Which I honestly I stopped the movie when I was watching this. I started laughing. I was like, look at these fucking guys. And it is just enough for this film, right? It works for this movie, right? This is not a serious movie. This is a fun movie, right? Like this kind of stuff is going to happen, and nobody's aiming for anybody's head. Everybody's shooting their body, blood spraying everywhere, and there's some really good blood effects, like from the bullets. Like it looks.
But they're not supposed to bleed.
Right. There should be no blood, right? There should be no blood.
And look, it doesn't matter the Uzi. I unloaded a clip of 50 bullets into you. If I throw a transistor radio into the pool, you're done. You're toast.
He just drops it right in the pool. Loved it.
I mean, that's gonna kill you today, though. But the 50 bullets,
no, we're gonna get you with the electricity. That's gonna be just enough. Enough.
And then from there, they go to the library to do research, and that's for me where some of the heart of the movie comes in, because it's Treat Williams' character, Roger Rigor Mortis, which is obviously rigor mortis, right? That's what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
It's a good play on words. Starts thinking about his own death day and what his own obituary is going to say, and how lonely his life is, and beloved father of none, beloved husband of nobody, parents deceased, no legacy to speak of. And I think that's very telling in today's world, because a lot of people who don't want kids and they don't want to get married because they've checked out and they're career driven have probably not thought about what their obituary is going to say at the end. Beloved coworker.
And it's surprising because, like you said, there's heart in this, and that when he's having that revelation there, like it kind of stops you, like, because you're like, oh, this is fun, goofy, some violence and one-liners, and then this scene happens, and you're like, huh, right? Like you don't expect it to go there, but it does, and I think it's cool that it does that. Just to get a little bit of that in there, right? They don't, it's not all sappy and this and that, but it's like a reality check in the middle of this type of movie, which I thought was kind of cool that they did it. And Treat Williams delivers the line with the seriousness, and it's like he's it's overcoming, like, huh, this is it. It's a nice little thing that you don't expect from this film.
Not only that, but when they go to, after this, they kind of split up.
Yeah.
And he takes Randy James to Loudermilk's grave.
Mm-hmm.
And he catches on the tombstone beloved father. This is what he was, but it doesn't say has a daughter.
Right.
As at that point, he kind of catches Randy James in that lie. But this is where the movie kind of got far-fetched, in my opinion. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, that old push-tone phones used to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G on them. It was code. It was cipher in the inside of the lampshade. But I mean, how far-fetched is that he's gonna figure that out? It's like, he happens to see the license plate and he connects 1 and 1, and it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought that was,
he cracked the code, and it was
that was like he's like a wind talker all of a sudden. It's like,
right.
Well,
I know this.
I was like, I could just put this together real quick and just, he must play crypto like every day. I mean, that must, that's in addition to not paying parking tickets. But that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
So,
and
take us to the next part. What happens?
We have the. We talked a little about Joe Piscopo, where they come in and like you said, they had split up, and he was going to meet them. They get to the place. Joe Piscopo is stuffed head down in like a fishbowl, standing straight up, dead. And it's surprising because you don't really expect that. But here's where we start to lose characters, right? In a pretty quick succession. All right. So Joe Piscopo is like, oh wow, like, whoa, he's dead. At first, you're like, it's because it doesn't really look like him.
No,
it's not really a good dummy, but there he is. He's gone. And then you get the Randy James revelation in the shower, and she starts decomposing and falling apart and turning into goo. Not long after that. So, now you've lost 2 main characters in this film like that. And for me, this is where it kind of starts to pick up the pace, and we lead into, and I'll let you cover the my favorite part of the movie is the end action stuff.
Well, after that, he goes and confronts the body doc, Darren McGavin, and he gets taken hostage. Mm-hmm. And that's where they take him out to the ambulance. They're like, "Oh, you're going to be decomposed in a little bit anyway. We're not really going to worry about you.
It's my favorite.
We're going to handcuff you to your dead girlfriend."
Yes, and she's dead. The mortician is now dead.
She's dead.
Yeah.
They killed her off camera.
Yep.
And somehow he pulls the parking brake from park to neutral. And in LA, I guess, this ambulance just goes straight down this thing. And meanwhile, you think this guy's on a roller coaster. He's like,
he's loving it. He's loving it.
And meanwhile, his wrist is getting cut. And
yeah.
Now, I have to ask, if you're a rookie patrol officer at this major accident, and you got this guy getting up out of a body bag, that identifies himself as a cop.
Look at my guy. He had a badge.
And he's burnt to a crisp. And all of a sudden now his hair is now spiky, whereas before it was... And he says, I'm not only going to take your gun, but I'm going to take your motorcycle.
Yes.
Can you imagine going back to headquarters?
Oh, man. I got to tell you, man, before we go further than this scene, possibly the biggest, like, hell yeah moment for me was when he popped out of the body bag. Okay. And he looks like the Terminator. And I'll say this, the director of this movie was the editor on Terminator.
Was he?
Yes. And Rambo. And he has a very long filmography of editing notable movies. So you see him, he looks like Arnold from Terminator 1 towards the end with all the battle damage, right?
Yes.
On the face. He looks like that, but he's a zombie, right? So he's got the whole side of his face is, burnt and falling apart. And the hair is up like Arnold in Terminator 1. And he's now wearing, instead of the Hawaiian shirt, it's all burned and charred. Everything is black, right? So he turns basically into the Terminator when he sits up out of that body bag. And now he's ready to go kill everybody. But continue. I just had to say that part.
Oh no, that was a good announcement. I had no idea. And I just can't believe that. Can you imagine going back to the precinct and you're like a cop and be like, hey, isn't that the guy who gave his motorcycle and gun to a dead guy? You got to hear that for the next 30 years.
Yeah. You're never going to live that down.
You think your sergeant or your desk sergeant is going to want to hear that? Oh, what happened to your gun that's registered to your name?
Where's your service weapon, recruit?
Oh, well, it ended up with this big crime scene down the street where all these guys were shot and killed with my firearm.
It killed 8 guys. You weren't even there, man.
You know, it's like, oh, sure, not a problem. What happened to the suspect? Oh, he's a pile of goo. You know, right. Sure, right. So that's basically what happens is Treat Williams is all burnt up. He goes back to Dante Pharmaceuticals, kills a bunch of people.
Oh, gloriously. They
have a nice soliloquy. At least I thought it was very well done by probably a very old Vincent Price, telling people that, hey, look, you don't have to give your fortune to your inheritance to all your has-been greedy family members who are waiting for you to kill off. You can now stay alive forever. And also it cost you half, but you got the rest of your life, the rest of eternity to make this money up. Mm-hmm. And it's a good pitch. I mean, mm-hmm. it's like, wow, you know what? Sign me up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then Treat Williams bursts in with the Uzi and takes out half the people.
Beautiful. There were people just catching strays in that room.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so good. But like even before he gets in that room, he's having that one fight where they're just having the Uzi off. They're just standing in the hallway, emptying the clip.
For a minute and a half.
Yes. And it's so good. They're just standing there, just blah, 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 blah. Oh, it was. And then the guy, he catches him on the reload, right? And he tosses a grenade. And as he walks away, you just see this blah, like body parts and everything just flying around in the back. This is like such a great action sequence. Like I cannot say enough about like this little scene where he's just pops out of the body bag, goes to the pharmaceutical thing, and he's on a rampage, killing everyone. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's midnight, movie cult VHS horror action from the 80s. Like it's all of that. Everything you love about it. It's that all rolled into this little maybe like 15-minute sequence.
I can't argue with that. And of course, on the resurrection machine in front of Vincent Price and Darren McGavin and Thule is Doug, Joe Piscopo.
Yes.
And it's, hey, kill this guy.
Will you?
And because Doug has been brain dead for so long, he doesn't remember, and he's just taking orders from his superior bad guys until Treat Williams can kind of bring him back with some of the lines and stuff that he had used earlier in the movie. And then he remembers his death day. That was like the big, hey, you want to come back as a girl's bicycle? So
right, yes.
The bicycle seat, yeah, it was, But Darren McGavin, in an attempt to kind of get away, you remember what he does?
He kills himself.
Oh, he eats the bullet.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not taking me.
Yeah. He's like, done.
He even puts it in his mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty sharp. I was like, oh man, he even knew to put it in his mouth.
Yeah.
As a doctor, that's like proficient. It's like, okay, that's actually, you don't put it up to your temple because you might still be alive. You put it in your mouth so you don't miss.
But that's not enough for Treat Williams.
Oh no, they bring him back.
He's like, I will not be robbed.
Oh no, that's correct. And then you got Vincent Price in the corner saying, why can't you kill him?
Poor Vincent Price at the end of this. So they throw Darren McGavin on the resurrection machine. And, kudos to these actors doing the resurrection machine bit where they're just basically flopping around on a table, like flopping around on a table. Like they're not like it's really full on. They're giving their all. They're winning an award. We're full bore into this thing. So then they bring him back, and then he says, well, let's double resurrect him.
Well, that doesn't go so well.
So Darren McGavin's lying on the table, just come back, and then they throw the switch, and he explodes everywhere.
Yes.
You see it, he just explodes everywhere. And it's awesome. It's awesome. And then, they one-liner their way out the door into heaven.
Basically, yes. Roger turns the goop in the front seat of the car, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, he couldn't have more than like 15 minutes.
He
left,
he was wrapping up. He was wrapping up.
Yeah.
But it's and that's it, right? Like that's the ending. It doesn't leave you hanging for anything else, right?
No.
They know that they both know they're dying. Hey, we have the same death day, and this is something that they spoke about earlier in the film, and it's something that they can share as partners, and it ends on that. Okay, yeah, they're both going to die, but listen, they saved the day. They came back together at the end, and evil is punished.
Can't argue with any of that.
Roll credits, and then make the sequel.
The one thing that you said, poor Vincent Price. I mean, obviously, the Michael Jackson story with him.
Refresh my memory. I do, but refresh my memory.
So when he did Thriller, he did the voiceover for Thriller, which is, I mean, probably still to this day, the #1 song ever made.
Iconic.
He was offered the choice between 1% profit of the total overall gross of what that video made and that song generated, or $15,000.
Wow.
Take a guess which one he went for.
$15,000.
Not knowing that he'd be him and his family would never, ever, ever have to work ever again.
Wow. That's
he just accepted. Yeah. So poor Vincent Price. Yeah.
Just kill him. Just kill him. Why can't you kill him?
If you've ever seen House on Haunted Hill, he's amazing in that movie, and he's a very good actor. And this is why this film's a horror movie, in my opinion. It's not so much sci-fi or you can say buddy cop horror, but for me, it's the actors who were in this film: Darren McGavin, again, the Night Stalker, Vincent Price, Thule from Gremlins. I mean, that's the kinds of stuff that's that speaks horror to me. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but I gotta say, while there's the movie is entertaining, from the beginning to like that hour mark. The stuff that happens in this last act of this movie is my favorite stuff. And it's just because it's so bonkers off the wall action. Treat Williams as the Terminator. And man, I love that. Like just the gunfights and it's insane. It's insane. Like he takes the motorcycle and he's crashing the motorcycle through the guy. I love that scene. It's so good. But you see these different things from Treat Williams. Like you said, he kind of falls into doing the same thing every time. But you think about like Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
I forgot he was even in that.
And he was nut job in that movie.
I mean, when I think Treat Williams, I think unfortunately Deep Sea Rising.
Yes. Substitute 2.
Oh, you know what? I watch that clip all the time of him going into the bathroom.
Yes.
And it's like his hair just does not move as he's basically doing the Steven Seagal jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And taking these dudes out. And then the janitor comes out. It's like, you are a ranger. How do you know that? I spent my time in the tunnels. I'm a tunnel man. That's why I came out of the air conditioning. Well, can you clean these guys up? I'm a janitor, ain't I?
So good, man.
Oh, but look, it's like, hey, we couldn't get Tom Berenger for part 2. So who's on the list? Who's next on that next tier?
There we go.
Here's a guy. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And he was. Look, just again.
Yeah. So I like.
So then, of course, he's talking to all the people from Omar's block. What was the movie? Or not the Wire. He's telling all the people on the Wire why they should turn down the music. And, hey, get back to the boombox. And and that was wrong. He's basically giving a lesson to everybody who's in the Wire later, 10 years later.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, you guys all played High School Punks then. You guys are still playing High School Punks at 30 years old now. It's like, really? Oh, okay, if you say so.
So
that's who's in the movie. I mean, that's
yeah, real quick to touch on the director, Mark Goldblatt.
okay.
I had mentioned, he edited the Terminator, but let me just read some of the other movies that he's edited. Halloween 2, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, RoboCop, Dead Heat. Obviously, he directed. You know what? I just did it right here. Predator 2. He was the editor on.
Wow. Okay.
So that is wild, right? Didn't I said that at the top, like the opening scene. Look at that. He's the editor on that movie. Terminator 2, Last Boy Scout, Universal Soldier, Tombstone, True
you know
Lies.
What it is? It's the inciting incident. That's what we call it in writing. Is just we need to have right away the first 5%, the first 5 minutes. We have to grab your attention and give you a problem. So whether it's this one, hey, we got a bank robbers that won't die. The guy's dropping the grenade, going and
Right. Yeah.
Or the Jamaican voodoo posse who's wiped out before the cops even get into the building.
Yeah.
We have an inciting incident that, hey, this is like a red flag, and we need to kind of solve this. This is a problem.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not shocked.
Yeah, and like he's edited a lot of notable films, and this is, I mean,
so keep going with your list. I'm sorry for even interrupting.
No. The Rock, Starship Troopers, Armageddon,
wow, okay,
Hollow Man, Pearl Harbor, Bad Boys 2, on and on and on and on. I'm not going to go, but there's a lot of notable movies in there that this guy's edited, and for him to direct this movie, I think why it works in ways is because this guy's had his hands in all of these good films, working with notable directors, and you can see some of the influence there. And like I said, mentioned in Terminator, that whole thing, like the look of Treat Williams, like if you squint, oh, is this the Terminator? No, this is Dead Heat. But it's similar. And then he's riding the cop's motorcycle. We see that in Terminator 2, right? Like, there's little things. And, for what this movie is, it's interesting because the director has pedigree in the editing field, so I thought that was kind of a cool little, tidbit of information. As far as, I see that, I don't know how true this is, Piscopo improvising his one-liners. Did you hear this?
I did not, but I can believe it.
Yeah. Most of them. That's where I read this. Most of his one-liners. Not all, but most of them.
No, and look, it's hard sometimes as a writer to come up with something snappy and something funny. And sometimes when that person's in that character, then let them do what they're doing. I mean, I think that they filmed this for 37 days. So, I mean, he's living this character for, 10 hours, 8 hours a day on set.
So before we wrap this up, let me ask you this. You think there are any missed opportunities? They could have zigged when they should have zagged, or is this thing kind of sit just right for you?
This is one of those movies. I think Tombstone's another where if I say a line or I hear a line, it's exactly from a movie, and I can recall it because I've seen the movie so many times. Mm-hmm. And Tombstone's one of those movies, and Dead Heat is one of those movies as well. It's iconic when you can hear a line that's been spoken, and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what movie that's from. Mm-hmm. Come With Me If You Want to Live is another one.
Yeah.
The whole soliloquy that Robert Shaw does. I'm not comparing this movie, Dead Heat, because it's not on that level of excellence like a lot of those movies are. But in a fun sort of way, it's like Die Hard. Like when you know what Bruce Willis is going to say. Tell me, can you name anything he says in Die Hard 2 or 3 or Freedom of America? Or I can't remember anything Bruce Willis says in any of those movies.
Yeah, but Die Hard 1 is the quotable.
And I hate to say this, but I think that as we get more Netflix and Prime and Apple TV and Disney Plus, and people aren't watching the same movies over and over and over again like we did as a kid, it's, because again, what did we have? 30 channels growing up, 40. We had the box where you had to press the buttons and then the button would fall in.
Yep.
Yeah, the cable box, and that was like, oh, who broke the cable box? It's like, oh,
replace those things so frequently.
Oh, but that's what we had.
Yep.
And if that was on HBO today at 1:00 in the afternoon and you're home, that's what we're watching. It was either that or go outside and play.
That's it.
So I mean, it's a shame in some ways, but I mean, I know my daughter, she knows like all the Descendants songs, so she'll watch those over and over and over again. So there are some things today that kids will associate with, but I don't think it's anything like it was.
Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents. It is, in terms of zigging and I know I didn't answer your question, but from beginning to end, this thing moves quick. You generally want a horror movie to be about under an hour and a half. I think this was right on par.
Yep.
Didn't go too long. Some good special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Some funny one-liners. Got you had Treat Williams, who at the time I'm sure was a rising star, and you got everybody in the cheap for $5 million. I mean, I don't know what that would be today, but that's not a lot of money.
Yeah. I definitely. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I definitely think it's worth watching today, especially if you've never seen this. Check it out. Horror fans, any horror fan that's probably watching this has probably seen this movie, but it's worth giving it another look if you haven't seen it in a while, like me. I can attest. There's a lot of times it's going to bring a smile to your face, and you're going to be like, "Oh man, yeah." Like, and like I said, that whole end sequence, I'm up there, I'm rooting, I'm like, yeah, like let's go. I'm like jumping up and down. It was great. Give it a shot for comedy fans. You may want to check this out because there is some good stuff in here. But this is kind of like a movie where you can kind of bend genres and get action comedy all in one with the horror and get kind of a, more than just horror fans into this thing.
And it's quick too. I mean, the last couple of movies have felt epic in terms of what we watched. 2 hours to 15 minutes. It's, Airplane even felt a little long at some points.
Yeah, this was so
quick.
Easy. So easy. Yeah.
And you have to think, they didn't go a lot of different places. I mean, okay, you went to the library, you went to the market, you went to the morgue, or you had a shootout outside. You're in an office, and then you're back at the Resurrection Machine in Dante Pharmaceuticals, which is where they filmed Biodome. So that's
interesting.
That's what happened to Stephen Baldwin. They put him on the Resurrection Machine, and
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Final thoughts.
That's about it. I really don't have anything more to say about this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Joe Piscopo is funny. I know our title of our show is the only funny Joe Piscopo movie, but he was actually pretty good in Johnny Dangerously too. My mother hung me on a coat hanger once. That's the only thing I remember from that Johnny Dangerously. That's kind of odd, but yeah.
Well, there you go. That's Dead Heat. Yeah, man, fun. Hour and 15 or hour and a half. Hour and a half, 90
about
minutes,
an hour and a half.
90 minutes. Fun 90 minutes. 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Give it a look if you haven't seen it.
Well, we'll be right back with the funny and weird news.
See you in a few.